Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. I am still Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. It's still in the description below. It is still your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. I am T Mosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing. In 1971, Omega launched the Seamaster 600-meter, better known as the PloProf. It was the plongeur professionnel en français, and it was created with Comex in mind, although never actually used by Comex. Well, the PloProf resurfaced in 2009, now is the Seamaster Professional 1200-meter in stainless steel. Well, for 2015, Omega redesigned its most extreme diver, now in grade 5 titanium, with a master chronometer METAS-certified movement and a no-date dial with ceramic bezel insert. It also, for the first time, includes a display caseback. So the watch is easy to wear. You may not believe it, but I'll demonstrate. Though it is 55 millimeters in diameter, according to Omega, that measures the distance down the wrist. The actual distance across the wrist from lug to lug is 48 millimeters. Space between the lugs, and you can see they are conventional lugs, is 24 millimeters. And then the watch is not slim at 18.4 millimeters as I measure it. Now I'm going to show you how it wears on a 16 centimeter circumference wrist, and I think you're going to agree it's a lot more tractable than you would have imagined. The lugs are nowhere near the edge of my wrist, and you can see that from both sides in this down the barrel shot. Even from over the top, which exaggerates the width of the watch, and pulling the bracelet tight, it's still not flaring out over the edge of my wrist. Now, of course, it's comically thick. It's not going to fit underneath a dress cuff. But in terms of what it'll fit, no problem on a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference, maybe even 14 if your wrist is super flat and not very round. Being all titanium, it is quite light, and featuring a full matching titanium mesh bracelet. It's got a lovely and highly technical look to it. Now the case is grade 5 titanium. The bracelet, according to Omega, is grade 2, but that's a little bit curious because I've never seen polished grade 2 before, but that is their official claim. The bracelet, called the Shark Proof, has a sort of carpet of links. These are made as large sheets, then they're cut to size, and then finally the edges are deburred to make them safe to wear. And what's impressive here is that you actually do have quite a bit of adjustability built into the mechanism, as we have one of Omega's best clasps. You've got a push-button, incremental, multi-step slider. You can see all of the little detent positions. And then you've got a fold-out traditional all-or-nothing dive extension that I'll demonstrate here. So that once deployed, you have about 50 millimeters, actually a little bit more, or just over 2 inches of full extensible length. So you can use it for fine-tuning the fit, but you can also use it as a extension for use over a dive suit of some kind, or even a thick winter coat or sweater. You can see the hippocampus, or the seahorse, a symbol of the Seamasters, on the clasp, as well as the fact that it is a meaty clasp with some polished satination, twin trigger release, really thick gauge swing arm, single swing arm style deployant, and the bracelet offering plenty of gaps between the links to let the wrist breathe on a hot day. This is the way to wear the watch, in my opinion, because it won't trap heat and you won't have to worry about replacing straps. You'll pay a bit more up front, but in the long run you'll save money. Now the case design is very true to the original Seamaster 600, right down to the telescoping crown guard, which rises on 2 flanking pillars. But the most distinctive part of the PloProf, besides the shape, has always been the bezel plunger. You press it down and now you can turn the bezel in either direction, and this works as a dive watch under the ISO 6425, because once you release it, you can't turn it at all, so you can't shorten or extend a dive. Now the bezel insert on this second generation modern PloProf, the 1200 generation 2, it is actually a ceramic insert, so it's very scratch resistant, and then has cold enamel infill. We're going to do a lume shot so you can get a sense of the watch in the dark. This watch has no shortage of luminescence. You can see the whole bezel is lumed, which makes it a lot easier to keep precise track of time than if, for example, it were just a luminescent index. Now the minute hand and the bezel index are green, so you can quickly read them relative to each other at a glance. And note that all 3 hands, including the seconds hand, are lumed, so you do know whether your dive timer is working when you are deeply submerged below ambient light or diving at night, so that's nice to have. Another important thing to recognize right here, we'll jump back to the light real quick, is that this is a little bit of a quirky bezel. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see it's a 60-click bezel as opposed to the 120 that you'll find on the Seamaster Diver 300 meters and the Planet Oceans. Now the dial here is white lacquer without the date for the second generation 1200 meter. We've got two hands, one in media blasted satinated gold, and that's gold color, not solid gold, but we have all applique blue indices, blue on white print, and a lovely glossy gleam to the dial. The telescoping crown guard system is easy to spot from a mile away, and just like Panerai system, it makes it very difficult to damage the crown by blunt impact. So this is much more than a conventional crown shoulder. We have the ability to move the hour hand independently, so I can actually change my time zone as I travel. I'm not budging the minute hand, I'm not stopping the seconds, but if I want to pull out one more stop, now I will actually halt the seconds. So this offers you a tremendous amount of protection for the crown. The crown is also enormous and proprietary to the model. You won't find it on any other Seamaster. The case is well finished. As you can see, we have on the bezel, satination on the recesses of the bezel, but with polish on the raised knurling, the raised relieved knurling. There is satination all the way around the case, although we have a polished bevel that acts as a highlight running circumferentially, so the attention to detail excellent. A helium escape valve. The original PloProf didn't have this because Omega insisted it was so hermetically tight and sealed that helium could not ingress, so it need not egress. But here, it's nice to see it. And it also proves that Omega can build a flush helium escape valve just like Rolex, making you wonder why it's not on the Diver 300 meter and the PloProf. Turning it all over, the 300 times 4 meter PloProf features caliber 8912, which is basically the 8900 but without a date. So you can see 1200 meters, 4,000 feet. That's not a direct conversion, it's more of an approximation. You can see how the lugs work. They are conventional 24 millimeter wide lugs. It's a bidirectional winder with twin barrels in series for a nice flat torque curve. 60 hours of power reserve, 38 joules. 25,200 vibration per hour beat rate that is specific to silicone hairsprings. It has a silicone hairspring with anti-magnetic balance, balance staff, and escapement, making this METAS certified master chronometer effectively amagnetic. Now, the master chronometer certification was developed in conjunction with the Swiss Federal Institute of Metrology, which means it is an open standard anyone can certify to, but Omega was the first, Tudor has been the second. It is the COSC standards but goes beyond, so instead of a 5-position test, it's a 6-position test. Instead of a bare movement, it's a fully assembled watch test. It includes water resistance, durability, shock resistance, anti-magnetism, winding efficiency, power reserve, and yes, chronometry. For durability, we have a full balance bridge and a free sprung balance. And then we have a coaxial escapement in its tri-level form, as conceived by George Daniels, independent watchmaking great of Britain, and industrialized by Omega in 1999. It affords the watch with improved chronometry, improved power reserve, and reduced maintenance requirements. And then we have blackened and polished screws, machined bevels, which are attractive, and a circular spiral arabesque Côte de Genève. If you love this plongeur professionnel, reach out to me. I am Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing.